It appears that Chris Rock's advice of taking Robitussin or Tussin doesn't work on the rage virus in today's movie, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Those infected with that virus are still running around like the naughtiest hypo 7-year-old being sent to his room for a timeout. However, they might not be the worst thing running around that uninfected humans need to worry about. Be wary of creepy blondes wearing tracksuits in this movie. If you want that to make sense, keep watching this episode of Movies Merica Live.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica Live, a 28 years later, the Bone Temple edition of of Movies Merica Live. And as always, I am your well-spoken, humble host, Van Ebert, here for this latest episode. And I am especially excited today about this movie here, and you will find out why here shortly with this particular movie. But of course, I cannot go without welcoming my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics out there. Okay, we park our car in the same garage as far as living free and movies and all of that stuff right there. Okay, and real quick here before I forget to remind you, the fact that this show is live gives us the perk of having the live chat at our fingertips, okay? And so that gives you and me the ability to communicate back and forth with each other, okay? And so, yeah, feel free to get in the live chat on Rumble or YouTube there. It's a very complicated process of looking for the button that says chat or live chat. And it's very prominent. If you're watching me on Rumble or YouTube, it won't take you long to find the chat or live chat button there. And then, yeah, once you get in there, no one's asking you to, write the New Testament or the Gettysburg Address in there. Hey, if you want to just simply give me a thumbs up or a poop emoji or, a good old fashioned, you suck, the live chat, totally cool, totally cool. So I admire that. It's all good in the hood right there. Okay. So, all right, let's get into some 28 years the Bone Temple, 28 years later the Bone Temple, I should say. And this movie is directed by Nia DaCosta. And the last 28 years movie was directed by God, the guy that made it, Danny Boyle. There you go, Danny Boyle. Man, I was having a blonde moment there. Danny Boyle. And so there was like last year when the 28 years later movie came out, that was like the big return of Danny Boyle because he hadn't directed a 28 zombie movie since the very first one came out, like 2002 or something like that. The original 28 days later there. And then so now it transitions from being directed from Danny Boyle to Nia DaCosta. Okay. And I have to say that I was not thrilled. Okay. It did not exactly, blow my skirt up when I heard that Nia DaCosta was directing this, because this is the same Nia DaCosta that directed the horrendous, all right, and I mean that in the strongest sense of the word, horrendous Candyman remake that came out a few years ago. Basically, it was the BLM approved version of Candyman. It was like this this version of Candyman was just an excuse to say black people are always great and white people always suck. Oh, and then there's like this Candyman character in there as well. So there you go. And then she also directed The Marvels, which remains, if not the worst grossing, the lowest grossing MCU movie of all time, it's pretty damn close. Okay. I think there's a battle royale between The Marvels and the Eternals as far as the absolute stinkiest, stankiest turd in the MCU universe right there. So I was pleasantly surprised with what Nia DaCosta did with this movie. I mean, I got to tip of the cap to Nia DaCosta with this movie right here. I am pleasantly surprised, and so she brought it home. But I'm going to go more into that a little later on here, so I'm not going to go full singing Nia DaCosta's praises quite yet here. But yeah, I mean, she did a good job with this, and then there's also this movie, of course, stars Rafe Fiennes, not Ralph Fiennes, people. Rafe Fiennes. I know, I get it. It's his first name is spelled Ralph. All right, but he's been around for a while. I mean, remember we first saw him as Amon Goeth, in Schindler's List, like over 20 years ago, right there. I think we should know his first name is not pronounced Ralph anymore. It's Rafe Fiennes, okay? And so he plays Dr. Ian Kinsler, Kelson. There you go. Hey, at least I got the K part right. Dr. Ian Kelson, and so he's returning from the movie last year, 28 years later. And then our other prominent character is played by Jack O'Connell, and he plays Jimmy. Okay, although I'm kind of disappointed they never pronounce it that way in this movie. You never hear it pronounced Jimmy in this, but hey, it's all good all the same right there. But he plays Jimmy, and we have another returning actor from last year's movie, Alfie Williams as Spike, who turned out to be the surprise, hero, the surprise main character of last year's movie right there. I mean, he was the character I was fist pumping for and cheering for last year. It certainly wasn't Aaron Taylor Johnson, that's for sure, in last year's movie there. So they're returning in this, and it's a welcome return for those characters in this movie here. But and again, and it's also written by Alex Garland, who has basically written all of these movies except for the second one, the 28 weeks later movie there. So, but yeah, we're going to get into some more of the 28 weeks later Bone Temple real quick here. But real quick, let me get a drink off my brewski over here, and I'll be talking about this brew here a little later on here in more detail during brew review time right here. But we're only almost 9 minutes in, and I'm already parched, so I got to take care of that problem here, people. So there you go. Hey, and whatever you guys are drinking, drink up. All right, it's time to relax. Excellent. All right, there we go. All right, let's move on. Okay, what else we got going on here on the docket? Well, of course, we've got some more 28 years later to talk about here. And I have to say that this movie represents the most shocked I've been since I can't even remember about the quality of a movie from a particular director. I mean, I have to say, first off, Nia DaCosta, again, like I said, a tip of the cap to you, my lady, for totally redeeming yourself with this movie. Okay, like I said, she's made some real cinematic turds like Candyman and The Marvels, but this one, man, Nia DaCosta, man, wow, I'm so glad. I was wrong about fearing this movie or not being excited about this movie when once I heard her name was captaining this ship, so to speak. I mean, she very much deserves accolades and respect for this movie here. And I didn't know she actually had 1 ounce of talent in her whole body, much less the truckload of talent that she shows with this movie. I mean, I'll be honest, I figured this would be even worse than last year's 28 years later, especially when I saw it would be directed by DaCosta, as well as the fact that it came off as some lesser spin-off of the first 3 movies. And I couldn't have been more wrong, and I am so thrilled and happy about that. I mean, can you see a big grin on my face over here? So there you go. No one's going to be asking me like, why so serious? Okay, because I'm ecstatic about how wrong I was about my anticipation or lack thereof for this movie here. And again, I hate having to give bad reviews. I hate it. I don't like that. Good movies and hence good reviews make my job much more fun and less migraine inducing. Now to what makes this movie great. Okay. So Rafe, again, not Ralph, Rafe Fiennes gives an even better performance in this than before. I mean, you just want to be best buds, you just want to be BFFs with this guy in this dark post-apocalyptic world because he knows what he's doing. He's a man of science. He's a doctor. It was revealed in the last movie he's a GP or a general practitioner, and so this guy's a smart guy. Okay, he's intelligent. He's calm under pressure. He's cool, calm, and collected. There, he's very compassionate. That's the whole point of his bone temple here is he's taking the bones of the people that have died in this rage virus apocalypse, even the people that are victims, the infected with the rage virus. He's taking them and he's emaciating them and then taking their bones and building these big tall bone temple or bone spires basically to make this bone temple right here as a show of his compassion and the fact that he feels bad for these people. These people used to be human beings and they are just the victims of this rage virus being unleashed. And if you saw the first movie, you know that the rage virus it basically was unleashed by these environmental terrorists, like breaking into this lab, and they wanted to free these animals from being tested on. Well, turns out the animals that they freed were these monkeys or baboons or whatever, just straight up infected with this rage virus, and of course the lab workers, the doctors or scientists or whatever, they're like, no, don't release them. They're like they're full of rage virus, man. If you let them out, they're gonna kill us. They're gonna bite us. Then I'm gonna bite you, and it's gonna spread this rage virus all over the place, and it's gonna create this big rage virus apocalypse. And don't do it. The terrorists like screw that. We don't believe you. And they open it up, and of course they basically killed the world there. And so Dr. Kelson, he feels bad for all these humans that got that were basically cursed to this fate for something that was beyond their control here. So yeah, he's very admirable because of his compassion, his humanity, right? Is all of that stuff right there. And then plus he's got a great record collection, considering how he's got to live and his meager means and all that stuff in his post-apocalyptic world there. And that great record collection, he puts it to great use. And he shows his incredible bravery and compassion in how he interacts with Samson, the ginormous alpha infected that we met in the last movie. He's the big burly dude, right? All jacked in this. And then, of course, we have Jack O'Connell, and he is masterfully creepy again, just like he was in last year's Sinners, as Jimmy, the leader of a tracksuit, blonde, wig-wearing, Teletubbies-loving cult who worships a certain dude who has horns and a pitchfork. I wonder who I could be talking about there. Yeah. Satan! There we go. Now, with his slithery accent and mischievous expressions, Jack O'Connell oozes menace and impending doom for any unfortunate people that encounter him and his track suit wearing cult. O'Connell he's going to get himself typecast as the new Mark Strong there. And if you don't know who Mark Strong is, if you saw his face, you guys would know who I'm talking about here. He played like the main baddie in the first Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. there. He played like a Lord Evil Dude, okay, in that movie. And then he also played a bad guy in the Kick-Ass. Remember Kick-Ass? He played like the main Italian mobster dude in that. And he's played the bad guy in several other movies. But yeah, just look up Mark Strong and it'll be like, Oh, that guy. Ah, okay, I know who you're talking about right there. I got you. I got you there, Van. All right, I got you right there. And so, yeah, if Jack O'Connell is not careful, yeah, he's gonna basically just keep getting typecast as that new Mark Strong. Like consistently getting offered creepy, bad guy roles, and really having to fight hard for more sympathetic roles. So better watch out there, Jack O'Connell. All right, look out. Don't dog yourself there by being typecast. That is for sure. So, all right, what should we do next here, everybody? Well, I think that right now, what I should do is remind you that just like pretty much any other YouTube show, Rumble show, there are buttons on the screen right there, and one of the buttons on the screen is the like button. Okay, and as you've been watching this show here, you may have detected a little side eye being, thrown your way, and that side eye might be that like button's giving you the old side eye because it wants you to click on it so bad. Okay, now, pardon me. That's only if you rightfully think that I deserve to have the like button clicked on this episode right there. All right. But if you do, hey, by all means, click the like button down there. That's what it's there for. And then there's another button right next to it, the subscribe or follow button. And if you haven't already, please click that subscribe or follow button. That and a like button, clicking those costs you absolutely nothing. No money, no nothing. Okay. It costs you about 0.003 seconds every time. Okay. And then the other button, the next button I want to talk about is, again, free of charge. Okay. It is the notification bell button. And when you click on that, it'll just send you one lowly email a week here, just letting you know that there is a piping hot, fresh, delicious, tantalizing new slice of Movies America coming hot out of the oven for your enjoyment there. Okay. So, and then this is directed at my viewers that didn't have a chance to watch the show live here. You're busy with something, maybe basically you're making dinner and you got your hands full of meatloaf and you can't exactly get on and listen or live chat in the show or anything like that and communicate with me there, or you're behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler on the highway and you just can't live interact live with the show here. So you had to watch it later on as a recording. And you know what? Hey, I appreciate that. I didn't realize I realize not everybody can watch live. So first off, hey, if you're watching the recording of this, how you doing? Good to see you, and thanks for watching the show. And we can still communicate back and forth with each other. We are just gonna have to do it via the comments section that's down below. Okay. And get in the comments section. If you want to just simply get in there just to say hi, or you suck, or hey, Van, here's a movie that I'd really like you to review here someday, if you would, or hey, here's my favorite 28 years zombie movie, or my favorite movie ever, whatever. I mean, push come to shove, you can comment anything you want in the comment section. I can't stop you whatsoever. I mean, I don't have that comment power to, you send a SWAT team to your house, if you comment something that I don't like. So, and hey, if you do comment, I do check out the comments. I'm not afraid to maybe see a comment that is less than flattering. I am no shrinking violet. I'm not delicate and fragile. If you put a comment in there and it's like you suck or you're a loser, like first off, I read those and I laugh, and then I realize that's a you problem, not me. But anyway, get in the comments section. That would be fantastic. All right. So I think it belabored that point way too much. That is for sure right there. And hey, we got Unfolding Joker up in the live chat here, there, and appreciate you joining the show. Good to see you. And they say jump up and down in the comments. So there you go. Exactly. Yeah, go do a little House of Pain and jump up and down. And then Unfolding Joker is like, eat. Well, for this episode, like I say, eat crap, commies. There you go. I wonder if did you happen to just watch Rocky IV or something like that, or maybe Red Dawn, something like that? So good to see you, Unfolding Joker. Welcome right there, and hopefully you get some more friends in the live chat to play with. That is for sure. But let's go ahead and right, exactly. Merica, there you go. Fly those flags in the live chat. There we go. But let's move on with the show. All right, we got some more 28 years later, the Bone Temple to talk about right here. And again, this is a spoiler-free review. I think it just occurred to me. I forgot to say this is a spoiler-free review, so don't be afraid, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, about spoilers with this. That's what the Sunday show is all about, is being spoiler-free. So there we go. But back to 28 years later, the Bone Temple, and I've seen like at least one critic call this movie, metal, man. It's a totally metal movie right here. And they are correct. I'd say they are correct in using that word, especially after the grand finale in this at the Bone Temple there. The grand finale is it put a smile on my face and almost had one single tear come out of my eye right there, just from the nostalgia from the '80s in this, and it got me right here. Okay, it's emotional, but it's still cool as hell at the same time. That grand finale in this, and so it's pretty good. But and about the grand finale, excuse me, let's just say that the band Iron Maiden gets involved. I'll just put it that way. I'm just gonna leave that right out there. I'm just gonna leave it right there. There we go. All right. And you're gonna have to watch this movie to find out exactly what I mean. And you're gonna be glad that that you checked out this movie to see exactly what this Joker over here is talking about here. I'd also say that this movie is one that will especially appeal to my generation, which is Gen X here. It has so many songs referenced from the '80s, and then the no holds barred, no mercy, in your face tone of this movie reminds me of some '80s horror movies that just didn't hold back. They weren't like, you know what? Maybe we should just kind of taper things back and just kind of take it easy, take some of the edge off. No, we're not going to do that. We're going full bore. We're going full bore, full straight ahead. Full steam ahead. All of that good stuff right there. So, and then another thing that will appeal to my generation, the Gen X generation, is Dr. Kelson's record collection does include an ample supply of Duran Duran, okay, which he sings to himself throughout the movie. Yep, again, Duran Duran, the new wave, hit band, from the UK from back in the '80s there, and into the '90s a little bit there. Basically the guilty pleasure, okay? Because I mean, I like Duran Duran when I was in junior high. I'm not going to apologize, but I also like Metallica and Megadeth and Sepultura and and then I also liked NWA. I had a very eclectic, or I still do have a very eclectic, musical taste right there. I mean, I'll listen to Too Short, or Eminem, or I don't know, friggin' Easy E, and then I'll turn on some Handel, or some Tchaikovsky, and then right after that I'm like, all right, I need something to really wake me up right there. So hey, where's my Pantera album? Where's I'm just my musical tastes are all over the place there, and I don't apologize for that whatsoever. But yeah, in the '80s, right after I got done, listening to Ride the Lightning there, or Number of the Beast from Iron Maiden, I turn on some Duran Duran. It's all good down there. So so yeah, so there's a lot of Duran Duran, I guess is what I'm trying to say in this movie. And even the title card of the Bone Temple looks like something out of an '80s movie. And this movie also doesn't hold back on the gore. Okay, definitely not. This movie is not for the squeamish whatsoever. And DaCosta sets the tone early that this will not be a sanitized for your protection installment of this series. This is not going to be a fragile, delicate, example of this series, that's perfect for those people that are just little snowflakes and they just can't handle. No. This is not that installment of the series. To her credit, and then of course you have to give Alex Garland some credit because he wrote the movie right there. They do not hold back. They are just like in your face, okay, with the blood and the viscera and all that stuff there. And the bloodiness is shocking, but yet it's part of the story. So it's not just gore for gore's sake. I mean, it does interact, or not interact, but it does weave. It's woven into the story there. It has to be there in order to communicate and stress just the creepiness and scariness and the terror that Jimmy's cult brings to the movie and all of that stuff right there. And I liked how DaCosta adds a scene that reminds us of how amazingly strong and then brutal Samson, the alpha infect that I was talking about earlier, the big guy, the big, jack dude. Just he's got a scene like very early that just reminds you, like, my God, do not mess with this guy. This guy is like just, he's got superhuman strength in this. He's got I would say old man strength, but he's not an old man. He's just got rage virus strength, right? And that makes it all the more impactful when Samson and Dr. Kelson start interacting later on in the movie. And then she also establishes that Samson, let's just say Samson likes to roll all natural and show constantly what God gave him for all to see. Okay. And, there's some sick ladies and some sick guys that won't be walking out of the theater on this movie for that reason alone, right there. So, let's just say, hey, they might have subtitled this movie "Twig and Berries" instead of the Bone Temple. Well, I guess the Bone Temple works too. So, what do you know? There you go. And yeah, and Folding Joker's got something to say right over there. Apparently, you've seen the movie right there. Oh, I do like your reference. Cruising down the street in my 6'4". There you go. I like the Easy E reference right there. Good to see you. Or good to see that right there. And then it's like, and the swinging dong. Yeah, I know. It's he's like he could have done with a few less naked running Samson scenes. All right, come on, Unfolding Joker. Don't tell me you didn't enjoy those. Come on, there you go. That's where you're gonna go see it a second time, right? There you go. But yeah, it's almost like oh, remember? Oh, yeah, a Watchmen, Zack Snyder's Watchmen. And you're like watching this movie here with, this movie that's kind of deconstructing the superhero genre, and then here comes Doctor Manhattan with his Smurf, baby's arm hanging out, his his Smurf schlong, just hanging, swinging from to and fro in this superhero movie in there. So hilarious. All right, let's do this here real quick. Let's move on with the show. And hey, what should we move on to? Well, you know what? I've got a clue here. The beer bottle here next to me is just kind of directing me on which direction I should go next. And that direction is brew review time. All right, so let's get right into this, and I should probably grab the brewski right here. And this is some Three Floyds, Alpha Claws. Yeah, I had some beer left over from Christmas, and so this beer was the next on the brew review docket right here. And also, I mean, it's kind of appropriate because we were just talking about Samson, the alpha infected right here. So we got Alpha Claws, and then plus it's got that gnarly bottle label right there. That's pretty cool. That's kind of fits in with the theme of 28 years later, the Bone Temple. Very cool there. And this comes to us out of Munster, Indiana. Okay, and it's just like a Christmas American ale to this right here. So it's just got the cool character to it there. And as far as how it tastes, right? That's what we all want to know when it comes to a beer, right? We're more concerned with that than we are like how cool the label is, right? And as far as how it tastes, it's got like dominant flavors of dark chocolate, molasses, and coffee there. And it does have a significant amount of hop bitterness to it there. If you're into that, depending on the beer, depending on the rest of the ingredients, sometimes I do like a significant hop bitterness to it there. And then it's also got like notes of, some pine, some citrus to it there. I would say, like, as far as the citrus goes, I think the prevalent citrus flavor to it, which is very, very subtle. I mean, you really have to have a palate, I guess, for it, is would be like grapefruit, something like that there. But it's just very subtle, not in your face whatsoever. The aroma to it, It's got like a cocoa nose to it as well. It's got like let's see here, like orange, like a little zest of orange there. So that's what I can smell. Um, Basically, if you read like reviews of this beer, like written reviews, it does list like a bunch of other stuff that is in the nose of the brew here, but I can't smell them. Now I'm a little stuffed up today, so that's probably hampering my sniffing ability right there, my detection of the nose ingredients and all that stuff. But yeah, no, it's pretty good right there. I mean, it's not the best porter that I've actually had. So it actually just occurred to me. I called it a Christmas American Ale earlier. Now it's a Christmas porter, not an American ale there. So that would be given away that it's not an American ale just from the alcohol by volume, which is 7.3 alcohol by volume, which actually is kind of low for a porter. I'm used to my porters having a little bit more alcohol in them, to be quite frank. What to be quite frank there. And as far as like the foods that it pairs well with, I'd say it goes pretty good with like roasted meats. Goes pretty good with like gingerbread. Okay, because again, like I said, this is a Christmas porter. There, glazed ham. Again, like everything kind of sounds like food you'd eat at Christmas, right? And then stuff like sharp cheeses as well, or aged cheeses, I should say. There, that this would go very well with right there. But I know it's not Christmas anymore, but that shouldn't stop you from grabbing yourself some Alpha Claws. And I'm not getting any money from Three Floyds whatsoever for this, so it's a completely objective opinion. All right, it's I'm just telling you this because I would recommend you get some of this. I mean, it's not, again, like I said, it's not the best porter, so I'm not giving like this emphatic endorsement to it or anything like that. But it's also not piss water either. It's not Bud Light, piss water, tranny fluid, or anything like that. This is worth your time to drink along with your glazed ham. There you go. There you or your gingerbread if you're kind of weird and you're making gingerbread houses in January. There you go. All right. But instead of me yapping about this beer, hey, I'm going to take a drink off this. So is that all right with you? I'm kidding. There we go. Let's do this. Mm. All right. So not bad, not bad. And yeah, just to let you know, yeah, you guys can get your hands on this potentially if you go like to the Open Bar app on your phone. I think that's available for both like iOS and Android now. Now, if you happen to live, like around Munster, Indiana, you could probably get it from Uber Eats there. I mean, they don't just deliver grub and food and all that stuff. They do deliver booze if you are so inclined right there. So number one, gopuff.com. That's a website that potentially you could get it delivered there. And I mentioned that, and I'm belaboring that point. People might be like watching this, like, come on, Van, move on. We get it. You're trying to like, okay, show us how we get the beer. Let's move on. I want to talk about more 28 years later, the Bone Temple. But I'm just saying this because I don't want to hog all the good brew. I mean, because hey, that's the kind of generous guy that I am. There you go. But anyway, so all right, let's move on here with the show and wrap up this brew review time. All right, let me do this here real quick. You guys will bear with me here. All right, I am going to try to do something here real quick. I'm going to attempt to multitask, but I don't know. I have to tell you, my attempts to multitask here are not always successful. Matter of fact, they usually don't succeed. To be honest with you here, so I hopefully that you are able to bear with me here as I am doing this here, and let's do this over here and get up in here as well. And you know what? With me trying to multitask right here, it's just gives you a chance to maybe drink get a tug off that beer or Cosmo or whatever that you're drinking right now. As you're enjoying this show as we go through 28 years later, the Bone Temple right here. Which I mean, if you haven't gathered so far, I am pleasantly surprised at how good. at this time right here. So there we go. All right, enough of that multitasking crap. Okay, and let me do this here. I'm going to do you guys a favor. I'm going to do you guys a solid right there for bearing with me as I was trying to multitask because I want to show you something good. And no, I'm not going to show you something pervy or anything like that. Sorry, Unfolding Joker. So, but let me do this here. I'm just going to get you a chance to feast your eyes on this right here, and that is the Movies America merch store, everybody. Yes, the Movies America merch store with all kinds of Movies America merch items there. We've got the Movies America camo trucker hat is the first thing that I wanted to show you. Now, just full disclaimer, there's no purple on the logo there. I know I'm just as disappointed as you guys are with the fact that there's no purple on that hat right there. But just wanted to be honest with you there. But yeah, as you see, we got T-shirts here with various Movies America logos, various different types of shirts here. We got the baseball long sleeve. We got the tank top. If you think that you're going to be on the show Cops and you're slapping your old lady around and you want to just have a nice little Movies America wife beater to wear around there, and then you can run out of your double wide while the cops try to chase you, and you're wearing your Movies America tank top while you're hiding underneath the kiddie pool from the cops right there. So there you go. Hey, if you're in a cold part of the area, a cold part of the country, get yourself a little hoodie as well. You got a sports bra right there. If you're in shape enough to wear a sports bra, by all means, do that. And then we got like the Holly Weird version of a Movies America logo here on these t-shirts there. And also, then we're coming up on the Movies America logo that I personally like the best, and that is the the Black Adam kind of design here. Not kind of, it is a Black Adam like design for the Movies America logo. I just kind of like that fire, on the right side there, and that metallic letters there. So that's very metal. They're literally very much like that. So yeah, maybe you can get yourself a Black Adam style Movies America tank top for hiding from the cops. Underneath the kiddie pool there, and then hey, if you are in need of some glassware there, some drinkware, get yourself a Movies America coffee cup. You got this big mugs can shaped glass, got the pint glass, got some koozies there, all kinds of stuff right there. Got the desk mat here if you want to class up your desk with Movies America there. By all means, it is there for you right now. And we're making it very easy for you to be able to get to this website right here to shop to your heart's content. Maybe not necessarily for you, but hey, for a loved one, for a family or family member or a friend or something like that. Because nothing says, man, thanks, Uncle Frank, for watching some baseball games with me when I was a kid. Quite like a Big Mugs pullover hoodie. All right, or nothing says, I love you, Grandma. Like giving her a nice little Movies America coffee cup right there so she can sip her little cappuccinos out of there and all of that stuff right there. So, yeah, so, go above and beyond, be elite, and, get yourself some Movies America merch right there to, for yourself and or, someone you love right there. Exactly. So, all right. But enough about that there. We're going to move on here with the show. But just wanted to give you the chance to check that out. But again, the Movies America merch store link is down in the description right there. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, let me check something over here. And all right, we got this going on. Just checking something over here. And again, yeah, if you guys are liking this episode, whoever's watching right now, if you haven't, feel free to like this episode here. And then also, if you're watching on Rumble, then you can follow me on Rumble, or if you're watching me on YouTube, then you can't follow like Movies America per se, but you can follow the Till Death Podcast Network page that you found this show on right there. So there we go. Let's get into some more Bone Temple, shall we? Yes. Let's do it. And right now, I do have some random thoughts about 28 years later, the Bone Temple. And my first random thought is, I could see how's that becoming a new popular catchphrase, since it seems to be the official catchphrase of Jimmy. and his fellow Jimmys there. Because if you watch the movie, they seem to say it when something they like happens, and then the head Jimmy, that sounded kind of dirty. The head Jimmy, of course, Jack O'Connell, will say something like, how's that? And then the cult members will repeat it back to him like, how's that? And it's just one of those things where it's a running thing that they say throughout the movie, and it does elicit some laughs in some parts of the movies when they say that. Something happens, and then Jimmy, with his very ominous British accents, like, how's that? They're all repeating back to him, how's that? And you won't really appreciate it until you actually watch the movie and you see, these guys say it in that movie. Now, I don't think how's that is going to be as big as like, show me the money. It's not going to be as big as that, from Jerry Maguire, but I think it could come close there. But I really hope that this movie is seen by a lot of people, and this how's that catchphrase kind of catches on there. So it might be kind of one of those things where people in real life just say it to each other and then just kind of wink like, oh yeah, I know you've seen 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. There you go. And another random thought I have about this movie is Alex Garland, who wrote the first 28 movie, and also is a great director himself. He just directed the movie Warfare. Or no, he kind of I think he co-directed or had something to do with the movie Warfare from last year, which is an underappreciated war movie that takes place in Iraq. And then also he directed Civil War, a movie that came out a couple years ago that I personally like, but it was a very divisive movie. He directed Ex Machina as well. That's a really great movie. If you haven't seen that, check out Ex Machina, directed by Alex Garland there. But again, Alex Garland, he wrote the first 28 Days Later movie, the one with Cillian Murphy, back in 2002. And then he wrote last year's 28 Years Later movie. And so I do need to give him credit alongside Nia DaCosta for how good this movie is, okay? Because Nia DaCosta, she directed it, but then, the story and the screenplay and all that stuff is Alex Garland there. And Alex Garland's writing just fits the characters in this like a glove. I mean, especially Dr. Kelson, of course, played by Ralph Fiennes, and then Jimmy, played by Jack O'Connell. Like the opposite, of those goofy tracksuits, the screenplay fits those characters very, very well. All right, and Dr. Kelson, he's grounded, he's intriguing, and then Jimmy is written deliciously psychotic. Um, as we saw, and that's one reason I recommend that. Even though 20 years later from last year is not as good as this movie here, I recommend you see it just because there are some things that are in that movie that make the 28 Years the Bone Temple make more sense and that kind of thing. It helps you appreciate things like the character of Jimmy that much more, and makes him even more like psychotic because you know where he started. And so we saw in the 28 Years Later movie last year, like where he started for our from our perspective, he started like as like a little 8-year-old little boy, sitting in a room with a bunch of other little kids watching the Teletubbies when the rage virus apocalypse started. When they're trying to watch TV, and then Jimmy's mom rushes into the room to drop a kid off, and she's like screaming like, kids, whatever you do, stay in the room, because she's well aware like there's this murderous, bloody rage virus apocalypse that's breaking out right now. And so while that's all happening, that's the first time we see Jimmy as a little 8-year-old little boy there in the 28 Years Later movie last year. And then at the end of 28 Years Later, we see Jimmy return, in his tracksuit. He's like 28 years old, or I guess about 36 or whatever at this whatever age he is, right? And it's revealed like, oh hey, this Jimmy right here, it's like the same little kid Jimmy that we saw at the beginning of the movie, when he was 8 years old or whatever. So now that we saw him as a little kid, now that we see him for what he is in this 28 Years Later, the Bone Temple, it just makes him even scarier because, like, we saw him as this innocent little boy, kind and gentle, nice little innocent little boy, to the absolute murderous, satanic, killer that he is now here. I mean, he's just like he's gone absolutely insane. I mean, since we saw him as a little kid, at the beginning of last year's 28 years later. But those are just some random thoughts I had about 28 years later, the Bone Temple, and what I just described about Jimmy, just just made this movie, just another thing that made the movie great here, and basically reaffirms, my recommendation that you guys go see this movie here. Okay, so there you go. Now that's if you can go see it. There, I mean, obviously, don't bring the kids to this movie because this movie definitely earns its R rating. That is for sure. Okay, you do not. Your kids are gonna have nightmares for the next 12 years if you take them to this movie right there. Okay, so there you go. So let's move on. Okay, so I just want to tell you real quick here about my show, my other show that I do each week, and that show comes on Thursday nights, and that's my Movies Merica spoiler warning show. And that's a show where, as the title does insinuate, that's where I talk about a movie, and if I drop some spoilers during that show, I don't care. Okay, and that's why I've got spoiler warning as a warning in the title itself. And so, what I'll be talking about this Thursday night is this very same movie. 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Okay. But, spoilers and all, and in more depth because I do give myself a little bit more time on Thursday nights there to go over it here. And also, I might have something, might have like a little segment about like, my favorite zombie movies or comparing some past zombie movies with each other that you guys can get in the live chat on Thursday nights and give me, holy hell about, or you could agree with me about, what my observations are about how good this movie is compared to other zombie movies and all that stuff. And then also, I might very well have a special guest this Thursday night here that will be talking some 28 years later, The Bone Temple with me right there. So stay tuned, for the show on Thursday night. And the best way to watch it is when the links to watch the show come out on Thursday morning here. So this Thursday morning, you'll find the links like on my X page and my Facebook page and all the platforms that I'm on, like X and Facebook and Gab and Rumble. I'm all on there, all under Movies Merica, of course, or at Movies Merica. So check that out. So if you have seen 28 years later, The Bone Temple, and you really want an outlet that you can go to and just like voice your excitement about how much you love this movie or how much you hated this movie or how much you disagree with my takes or whatever, that's what the live chat's for. Not just this episode, but on Thursday's episode. There you go. But so that show comes on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and 4 p.m. Pacific. So there you go right there. That's the show this Thursday night. I hope to see you guys there. And yeah, maybe again, like I said, maybe I'll have a special guest there on the show to further entertain you. There we go. So, all right, let's move on. All right, so let me check here something real quick here. And all right, nope, there we go. Okay, so right now is the segment where I let you guys know whether this movie and every movie that I review on every Sunday episode, I let you know if the movie is a woke after school special. Okay, is this a movie that they are more interested in lecturing and sermonizing you than they are entertaining you, right? Okay, is this a movie that where you're going to go down there, you're going to go and plunk down your $15 a person for the movie, and then you're going to walk out going, God, I'm never getting that movie back, or never getting that money back, and I just got sermonized by some douchey wokesters, who wrote this movie and directed this movie and all that stuff. So this is a segment where I warn you if this movie is one of those types of movies right there. And I got to say, it does have a little woke in it, but it's pretty subtle. It's subtle enough to where you're gonna still enjoy the movie plenty. Okay, the movie's great, but the wokeness in it is very subtle. I mean, you got to remember this movie is directed by Nia DaCosta. Okay, and then also it's written by Alex Garland. These are two undoubtedly very ultra liberal people, and so they can't help themselves. Okay, like a little kid roaming around the kitchen and they see some cookies up on the counter. They just can't help themselves to try to like stick their their paws into the cookie jar and steal a cookie when they're not supposed to. These ultra liberals are just the same way. They just can't help. They got ultra liberal woke stuff like just oozing out of their ears. Just dripping in it, right? And so, like, God, I just want to put some woke in this movie so bad. And to their credit, they keep it subtle. There, it's not in your face or anything like that. But the first example of wokeness, subtle wokeness, I should preface it with, is Dr. Kelson, Ralph Fiennes. He makes a statement that sort of holds up the British NHS or National Health System as better just because it's free. All right. So, like, I mean, I'll just speak to everybody and realize, as we all know, if something's free, that means it's the best, right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's totally the best, right? Yeah. Yeah. No. As, uh, as we all know, yeah, free does not mean the best. Oftentimes it means pretty much the worst or pretty close to it, right? And then we see the very cool return of a character from a previous installment of these 28 movies, but they also do bring some woke teachings of, nationalism and populism are bad. So it stands to reason, that they think globalism and internationalism and elitism are good, but it's presented through the context of, they're teaching a school lesson to somebody. So, it softens it a little bit, at least in my eyes. Okay. So it's not, because that's the context, it's not right, like as in your face there as far as the wokeness goes. But as much as I'm singing this movie's praises, I had to, in full disclosure, let you know, yes, there is some woke in this movie, but again, very subtle. You could easily miss it or just just kind of roll your eyes. That's what I did when Dr. Kelson made the NHS comment. I was like, okay, whatever. Okay, let's move on. And hey, let's. Oh, hey, here's another cool scene in this movie, and I quickly forgot that he made that douchey comment right there. But yeah, so that's my is this a woke after school special right there. So all right. Again, let's move on with the show, everybody. All right. So right now, this is the part where I just kind of let you guys know, or not kind of, I just outright let you know that if you are appreciating this show enough, if you're appreciating anything that I do in this show, like, warning you whether or not this movie is terrible or good, if it's worth your $15 a person or if it's not, if you appreciate that enough, or you appreciate, getting a review of a beer, of a brewski or something like that enough, or being warned if a movie is a woke after school special or not. If you appreciate that enough to throw a buck or two my way, well, allow me to let you know how you can do that. It's very simple, very easy. It all starts in the live chat window in Rumble or YouTube. And so in the live chat in Rumble, live chat window, I should say, down by where you type in your live chat message, there's a button that has a $sign on it. And then you just got to click on that. It'll pop up another window, and that'll just ask you how much you want to throw my way, a buck or two or five or however much you want. And then you just answer that, and then that's it. Very simple, okay? And then on YouTube, it works eerily similarly, okay? It's uncanny how similar it is. So in the live chat window on YouTube or in YouTube, there is down by where you type in your live chat message, there is a button with a dollar bill on it. Just click on that. It'll just ask you how much you want to donate. And that's it. Very simple. All right. So it's just so, I mean, even I can wrap my head around how simple that is there. But again, that's just to let you know if you want to throw some moolah, some dinero my way, that's how you do it. So there we go. But enough of that right there. All right. So let's move on with the show here. And my final thoughts about 28 years later, The Bone Temple is undoubtedly go see this movie at the theater. Got to go see it at the theater there. It's got some great, gotta see it on the big screen moments in this movie here. And the fiery and bloody visuals are just a feast for the eyes from a movie theater screen. It's particularly that grand finale that I was telling you about earlier, that Iron Maiden comes into play in right there. got to see that on the biggest screen that you could possibly see right there. Okay. Again, don't take the kiddos to this. All right. This is not for the urchins. It's like, don't be one of those psychotic parents that I sometimes see, bring their kids to R-rated movies. And I'm talking about R-rated movies. Okay. Don't be that. Don't practice a derelict of duty, or don't be derelict of duty and do that to your kids right there. But if you can get a babysitter, or if you don't have any kids, man, run, don't walk to the theater to go and check out this movie right here. So it's a great movie. And also the performances in this are well worth it. Ralph Fiennes in there is Dr. Kelson, and then the guy that plays Samson. The alpha infected dude. The actor, he does a fantastic job, and he's got to perform without being able to say anything. I mean, he's got to communicate his performance, with his eyes, his facial feature or facial expressions, the way he runs, the way he walks. So he's got to. It's got to be a tough job for him. The big dude actor that's playing Samson to communicate that, and it's like he becomes kind of sympathetic after a while. Considering how he became infected, right? I mean, I'm sure the rest of these infected people that are running around biting people. At one time they were just humans. They're human beings. I mean, there's like human beings like running around, driving to Dunkin' Donuts to go grab themselves a bear claw, and next thing you know, they get out of their car and some infected, other infected person comes up and bites them right on the arm, and now, hey, they're infected. All right, there you go. I'm guessing Samson, though, in his case, well, I was about to say, I'm guessing Samson was probably on the way to the gym to lift some heavy objects, and then that's when he got bit. But now it's there's other that might be anyway. Just watch the movie. Just watch the movie. I'm butchering that whole Samson thing that I was about to, because as I was talking about it, I was starting to think about how these 28 years movies operate, and how the whole zombie lore in these movies operates and that kind of thing. So, but anyway, so yeah, all of that 10-minute diatribe that I just put you through, all that is just to say, go see this movie at the theater. That's what I would do right there if you leave it on up to me right there. But all right, let's do this here real quick, and allow me to implore you, if you would follow me on the platforms that I'm on. I'm on X. I'm on there under @MoviesMerica. And yeah, feel free to get on there and maybe check out some of my posts on there, my stupid little posts that I put on there. Pretty much about movies and stuff. And then feel free to follow me on X right there under @MoviesMerica. I'm on Facebook under Movies Merica or Van Ebert. I got my Van Ebert profile on there, so feel free to follow me there as well. I'm on Rumble, and if you go to Rumble and you're looking for Movies Merica, you're going to see like 3 or 4 Movies Merica accounts. And yeah, feel free to like and follow or follow all 3 of them there. That would be great. And then I'm on Gab. I'm on Instagram as well. I'm on the gram there. So yeah, check me out on all those and follow me there. And then hey, feel free to DM me or direct message me on X under @MoviesMerica. And just in your DM or your direct message, just say, hey Van, I followed you on this platform and that platform and that platform, and then I will follow you back. Okay. Amazingly enough, no one has taken me up on that offer. I'm like, this is an easy peasy way to get another follower for your accounts right there. But people haven't taken me up on that, so which is amazing. But anyway, so check me out there on those platforms there. And yeah, we're gonna get ready to wrap up this episode of the 28 years later, the Bone Temple movie right there. So sorry, it's like apparently I can't talk and multitask and all that at the same time right there. But anyway, so before I embarrass myself any further here, again, thanks for watching either live or watching after the fact, watching the recording of this. All right, means a lot to me here. And as always, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya. Howdy, my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. would you do me a favor and check me out at solo.to/moviesmerica. That's where you would go for a one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with me, Movies Merica. And then also, if you want to check out the audio-only podcast versions of my Movies Merica Live episodes, that's my spoiler-free reviews that I do on Sunday, you can go to moviesmerica.com or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, places like that. And then, actually, if you would also check me out on the social media sites like X and Instagram and Facebook and Gab. And I'm on those locations all under @MoviesMerica. So it is very easy to find me out there, all right? So get to it, everybody. All right, thanks for watching. Later.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.